Now we know that how easy it is to add these categories in the WordPress site. Now let me show you how you can add these articles in this WordPress. So as you know, using Gutenberg Editor, you can add different articles in the WordPress site. And we're gonna get that article one by one and display them in this article section. So I'm gonna get all that article from the database and display them one by one in this article section. So let me show you how to do it. So just back to the editor and open the index.php file. We have number of articles in this grid division tag. I'm going to just get rid of all this article and create a new file in this temp folder and put all these articles inside that file. So I'm going to just get all these articles, cut that article from here, and I'm going to create here a PHP syntax, and I'm going to say here load template post content.php in index.php. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new file in this temp folder and load that template in this index.php. So in this temp folder, I'm going to create a new file, post content. So the content is a slug of this file, and I'm going to specify extension for this file, which is PHP. Now once I have this file, I'm going to put all that articles in this file, just like this. Just out of that, save the changes, back to the index.php, and I'm going to call here get template part. So I'm going to call here a template tag get template part, and I'm going to just load the template post content PHP. So I'm going to say here in the single quote, I'm going to specify templates, then specify temp folder, and I'm going to specify here post content. And as you know, you don't need to specify extension for this template part. Instead, you just need to specify the slug in the second parameter. So I'm going to say here content. Save the changes and just back to the post content.php file. Now as you can see, we have different articles here, but you can notice all these articles are static articles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the articles from the Mysql database and display them one by one in this article section. Let me show you how to do it. So I'm going to get rid of all these articles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of all these articles, and I only want one article here in this file. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just create here a PHP syntax up here at the top and specify header for this file. And I'm going to say here template name, and I'm going to say here blog posts. Now once I have this header, I'm going to get the blog post from the Mysql database one by one. So in the basic WordPress theme, we have learned how to get the blog post using while loop. So I'm going to use the same technique in this file. So I'm going to just simply add here a command and say get blog posts. I'm going to just create here, just out of this closing PHP syntax, I'm going to create PHP syntax and then say if we have blog post, specify colon here to start this if statement. Then I'm going to create PHP syntax again, and in this syntax I'm going to say while loop and say if we have post, I want to iterate one by one all these posts, and I'm going to say here the post, and just out of that I'm going to just close this if statement and this while loop. So down here I'm going to call PHP syntax, and in this PHP syntax I'm going to call and while. Along with that, don't forget to close this if statement. So just out of this and while, I'm going to just close this if statement. So I'm going to call here PHP syntax and say and if. Now what if you don't have any article? In that case, I want to display something to the user. So I'm going to just specify else statement before this and if. So I'm going to just say here, just out of this and while, I'm going to say PHP. I'm going to call the PHP syntax and say else. And in the else statement, right down here, I'm going to call echo statement. And here I'm going to call a template tag wp auto p. So this template tag will create a paragraph and put the content inside that paragraph. So I'm going to specify here parameter to this function. I'm going to say, sorry, no post were found. So I'm going to specify here a message to the user that the website doesn't have any post in it. So if you don't have any post in the website, you're going to get this message. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just grab this division tag and put this inside this while loop. But as you know, we don't have any articles in the WordPress. So let me just create few articles in the WordPress, and then we'll see how to create article section in this while loop. So I'm going to just back to my dashboard and create few articles. So I'm going to just hover over this post and just click on this all post. When I click on it, I'm going to have few articles here. I'm going to just get rid of all these articles and create new articles here instead of using these articles. So I'm going to click on these articles, select all these articles, and I'm going to move all these articles to the trash. So I'm going to select move to trash and apply the changes. When I click on apply, this will remove all the articles from this WordPress site. And now I'm going to just create few articles in this WordPress site. So I'm going to just click on this add new button to create new article, or you can click on this add new link as well. So I'm going to just click on this add new to create a new article. And as you know, we have the Gutenberg Editor to create a new article for your WordPress site. We already learned how to use this Gutenberg Editor. So I'm going to simply specify title for this blog post. So I'm going to copy this title and paste it inside this add title section. And inside the paragraph, I'm going to just put some demo text. So I'm going to just go to Lorem, and from the Lorem website, right from here, I'm going to get the demo text for this website. So I'm going to just copy this text from here and paste it inside the blog. So in the paragraph block, I'm going to copy and paste that content. Just out of that, in the second paragraph, I'm going to copy this content. So I'm going to paste all that content inside this paragraph. Now, just out of that, I'm going to just create one more paragraph. So I'm going to create that paragraph. So I'm going to copy content from this Lorem website and paste it inside the paragraph. If you want to add image inside this blog post, you can do that as well. That's upon you. Now, just out of that, you can notice when you click on this document, you have few settings here. And you know that we add this feature image using the functions.php file. So if you open the functions.php file, you can notice we added the post thumbnail setting using this add theme support function. So using this add theme support function, I'm going to have this feature image option in this blog post. So I'm going to set the feature image for this blog post using this image control. So I'm going to click on this set feature image and specify image for this blog post. So I'm going to just select this image and click on this open button. So this will just upload this image on my WordPress theme, and I'm going to set this image as a featured image of this blog post. You can notice here we have the feature image of this blog post. Just out of that, I'm going to specify categories to this blog post. So I'm going to click on these categories, and I want to specify categories to this blog post. So I'm going to say here travel and click on this all. So I'm going to select two categories to this blog post, and if you want, you can specify tags as well. Now, just out of that, I'm going to publish this article. So I'm going to click on this publish button and click on the publish again. Now, as you can see, your blog post is now published. When you click on this all post, you're going to have your blog post here. Once we publish this article, should I expect to have this article on the WordPress template? No, not yet. Now, as you can notice, we haven't done with this while loop. Then how could we expect to have this article displayed on the WordPress site? Now let me just grab this division tag and put this inside this while loop. So once I have this article, I'm going to just get rid of all these hard-coded values and get that values from the database. So I'm going to first start with the post thumbnail right from here. I'm going to get rid of this post thumbnail. So I'm going to specify comment here. So the browser will ignore this code. And just out of that, I'm going to call here PHP syntax, and inside it, I'm going to say if, and inside this expression, I'm going to call has post thumbnail. So I'm going to call here a template tag has post thumbnail. So this template tag determines whether the post has an image attached to it. So as you know, we specify image using a feature section of the blog post. So I'm going to get that image right up here. So in the if statement, I'm going to just call this image tag. I'm going to copy this image tag, paste it inside this if statement. And because we have this image tag in the PHP syntax, so I'm going to get rid of this image tag, close the PHP syntax like this. So I'm going to say here PHP, and I'm going to say here and if. And in this if statement, I'm going to call this image. So I'm going to call this image tag here and get rid of this source attribute because I don't want to specify hard-coded image source here. So I'm going to just call here PHP syntax in the source attribute, and I'm going to just say here echo get the post thumbnail URL. So I'm going to call a template tag get the post thumbnail URL. So using this template tag, I'm going to specify the URL of the post to this source attribute. Now, just out of that, I'm going to just specify here, instead of adding these hard-coded values to this author, I'm going to just get rid of these hard-coded values, and I'm going to just call a PHP template tags here. So I'm going to get rid of this admin, and now I want to display the admin name here. So I'm going to call a PHP syntax. So I'm going to just call a name of the admin using the author template tag. So using this template tag, I'm going to have the name of the author of the current blog post. Just out of that, I'm going to get rid of this date because it's hard-coded, and I'm going to call here a PHP syntax, and inside it, I'm going to call echo get the date. So using this template tag, I will have the date of the article when the post has published. Just out of that, I'm going to specify author URI in this href attribute. So I'm going to get rid of this hash, call the PHP syntax, and I'm going to call here a template tag to get the author URI. So I'm going to say here echo get author post URL. And in the parentheses of this get author post URL, you need to specify the author ID. So you don't need to manually specify the ID of the author in this parameter. Instead, you just need to call a method here get the author meta, and in the parameter of this template tag, you need to specify ID. So this will automatically return the ID of the current author to this get author post URL. And using this get author post URL, I'm going to have the URL of the author in this href attribute. So when you click on the href attribute, you're going to redirect to the author page. Just out of that, here we have the title of the blog post. I'm going to get rid of this hard-coded value, and I'm going to specify here PHP tag, and I'm going to call here echo the title. So this will just use to print the title of the blog post. And you can notice here we have the anchor tag here. I'm going to specify the param link in this anchor tag. So I'm going to call a PHP syntax here, and in the PHP syntax, I'm going to call the param link. So using this template tag, I'm going to have the link of the article in this href attribute. And just out of that, in the post content, I'm not going to specify this hard-coded value. Instead, I'm going to call here PHP syntax and say echo get the excerpt. So I'm going to get the summary of the article using this get the excerpt template tag. And down here, I'm going to have the categories of my article. I'm going to leave this section as it is just for now, save all the changes, and back to my website. When I'm back to my website and reload it, oops, I think I misspelled something. Yeah, right here. I just misspelled this thumbnail spelling. I used to do this type of mistake. Thumbnail. Save the changes, back to the website and reload it. When I reload the website, you can notice I have my article here. Now in this article, I'm going to have the feature image, then the author and the date when the article was published, and then the title of the article and the summary of this article. Now if you just take a look at this content, then I'm going to have here more than 20 words here. What I want to just display only 15 words in this article summary. So I'm going to just change this setting using filter hook. So I'm going to just back to my functions.php file, and inside it, down here, I'm going to create filter hook for this content excerpt. So I'm going to just say here function and create a function fn custom excerpt length, and I'm going to specify a parameter to it, length, and just out of that I'm going to say return 15. I just want 15 words, so I'm going to just return 15 here. And using filter hook, I'm going to just change the output of this get the excerpt template tag. So I'm going to just back to my functions.php, and using add filter, I'm going to just change the output of this function. So I'm going to say here excerpt length. Oops, I just misspelled the spelling here. It's going to be length. And in the second parameter, I'm going to specify the name of this function. So I'm going to copy this function, and in the single quote, I'm going to specify this function. Save the changes, back to the website, and reload it. When you reload your website, you can notice you only have 15 words here. As simple as that. Now, what I want to just remove these hard-coded categories from this article and get the categories from the database and display them right here. So I'm going to just back to my post content template tag and just get rid of these anchor tags. So I'm going to just create a new file for that. In the temp folder, I'm going to create a new file and name that file post categories.php. So I'm going to create a new file here, post categories.php, and inside this file, I'm going to just grab this content. So I'm going to cut it and paste this content inside this file. Save the changes, back to the post content template file, call here php, and just call here get template path. So in this parameter, I'm going to specify the path of this post categories file. So I'm going to say here templates, then specify temp, and I'm going to specify here post categories. So I'm going to say here post, and to the slug, I'm going to specify categories. So I'm going to specify name post, and I'm going to call the category slug of this file. Save the changes, back to the post categories.php template, and get rid of these hard-coded values. And now let me show you how you can get the categories from the current post and display them right down here. So let's see how to do it. Now let me show you how you can add the categories of the current post in this article. So I'm going to just back to my post categories template tag, and I'm going to get rid of this article. So I'm going to just specify here a command to ignore this code. So I'm going to just put this in the command, and I'm going to create here PHP tag, and in this PHP tag I'm going to just call a variable. I'm going to say here categories and call a function get the category. So using this function, I'm going to get the list of the categories in this variable. Once I have the category list, I'm going to iterate this category list using for each loop. But before I do that, I'm going to call if. So I'm going to check if the category list is not empty, then I want to display all the categories one by one. So I'm going to say here for each, and in the for each, I'm going to say categories as category. So I'm going to get the category one by one in this variable and display them in the browser. And in this for each, I'm going to call printf function printf, and in the parentheses in the first parameter, I'm going to specify this anchor tag. So I'm going to copy this anchor tag, paste it to the first parameter, and to the second parameter, I'm going to specify escape URL and just call a function get category link. And to this function, you know that to get the category, you need to specify the ID of the category. So I'm going to just specify here category and just call a property term ID. Just out of this function, I'm going to specify second parameter to this printf, and I'm going to say here escape HTML to check the clean HTML tag, and I'm going to call here a parameter category and call a property of this category which is name. Don't forget to specify semicolon here, and I'm going to just pass these parameters in this output. So I'm going to get rid of this href attribute, specify here %sign $1 $s. So I'm going to just specify the first parameter in this href attribute. So I'm going to have the value of this first parameter in this href attribute. I'm going to just get rid of these people, and instead of specifying this, I'm going to specify %sign $2 $s. So I'm going to just call here second parameter with the type string. Save the changes, back to the website, and just reload it. When you reload your website, you can notice I'm going to have my categories here, all and travel. So this is going to be the category of this post. If you want to add space between these categories, you can do that as well. You need to specify here space and save the changes. You're going to have a space between these categories, just like this. Now you can see the category is completely ready. And you can notice we have two categories here. Because this post has these two categories, so I'm going to get these categories at the top. Now let me just create few more articles and display them one by one in this article section. So let me just back to my dashboard and create few more articles here. So as you can notice, I only have one blog post in this post section. Let me just add a few more blog posts and display them one by one in the WordPress theme. Now to save your time, I'm going to create these articles one by one and display the final result to you. So let me just create these articles, and once I finish it, I'm going to show you the final result. So as you can notice, I've just created few blog posts in this WordPress website. You can notice here. In the category section, you can notice we just specify different categories to these articles. Now once I have all these blog posts, let me just back to my website. Now when you open your website, you can notice I have two categories here and only have one blog post. Now when I reload the website, you can notice I'm going to have all the blog posts in this article section, and I'm going to have different categories right up here. So I'm going to just reload this website, right? So when I reload the website, you can notice I'm going to have all my categories ordered by name, and I'm going to have different blog posts here. Now you can notice I only have 3 posts here. I just want to change the setting from the setting option. Let me just change the setting. So I'm going to just back to my dashboard, and from this setting, from the reading setting, I'm going to change this blog pages show at most, and I'm going to say here 10. Save the changes, back to your website, and just reload it. So on the single page, I want 10 blog posts. So as you can see, I have my article here. As simple as that. So I'm going to have different articles here. And you can notice here, we have different categories as well. Now, what if you want to filter these articles? So if I just click on this commercial, I can filter all the commercial articles. Let me show you. So if I just click on this commercial, WordPress will filter all the articles for me and display only the commercial articles. So you can notice I only have 2 articles of the commercial categories. If I change this article to people, when I click on this people, I'm going to have the article of people categories, right? You can notice here, I have few articles on the people categories. So using these categories, you can filter your articles whatever you want. And when I click on this uncategorize, I only have one article of this uncategorized category. And if I click on this all, I'm going to have all my articles on my website. As simple as that. Now you know that how you can create different articles in your website. Now in the next lecture, I'm going to show you how you can create this beautiful pagination for your website. So I will see you in the next one.